Welcome back to my road to completion guide for Dark Souls 3. We're now in episode number 3. And the first thing we want to do is come over here and grab this soul. And notice that I get hit here by an enemy. Watch the roll. I told you guys that back in episode 1. Anytime you get hit, anytime you feel threatened, go ahead and roll, because remember, you do catch some invincibility frames when you roll in this game, and that's going to save your life more than not, okay? Notice what we're doing here, just killing all these enemies. I just wait for them to attack and then counterattack. This one's sleeping, so we just catch him. Come over here and grab this item right here called the Binoculars. We're not really going to be using those for their intended purpose. We are going to be selling those a bit later on for some souls. Notice what I did there, guys. I took the hit, or I should say I blocked the hit. As soon as I saw the sword hit my shield and it bounced off and I heard that sound effect, I just countered with an R1. We're going to come over here, grab the gold pine resin. We're going to keep running. Now remember, enemies are going to be chasing you at this point, so you want to be quick here, okay? Always be holding down the O button, sprinting, grab this soul. If at any point you feel threatened, guys, you can always quit out and of course despawn the enemies. Notice the stamina here, it's full when I get to the top of the stairs, so I can sprint and grab the Ember and then roll through all these enemies. See that? Now what's happening at this point, and you can't see it because it's off camera, is the dragon is actually breathing fire on all those enemies that were behind me. Okay, notice all the souls I have on the bottom right hand side of the screen, just free souls from the dragon killing them, right? Now notice what I did there when I got to the top of the ladder. I looked back at the gate that I just opened, and that's because sometimes one or two enemies will be chasing you at this point. If that happens, guys, you can go ahead and kill them if you feel comfortable doing that, or just quit out of the game, okay? And then of course when you load back in, they'll be despawned. But I don't want you guys taking on this enemy unless you're an advanced player. If you're a beginner player, just wait for him to walk past you. Run over here and grab the soul. Then we're going to come up here, take a right, go up the stairs, and you want to keep running past the bonfire, okay? Because there's going to be another enemy chasing you. And if you go all the way over here and you wait for a few seconds, he will basically turn around and go back to his starting location. You guys can see him over there on the right. He gets really confused. He's like, where did they go? Where did they go? Turns around. Make sure you pick up the Titanite Shard here. And now I want you guys to go ahead and set up a save and go ahead and of course light the bonfire and rest, okay? Alright, so as soon as you guys come back from the save, go ahead and rest. That way you can get back any health you lost. Some of you might have got hit more than I did. No need to do anything else at the bonfire, just keep going. We're going to come down here, take an immediate right and drop off the edge, and then go through the tunnel, okay? Take another right and grab this soul. Again, you want to be quick here because there may be an enemy chasing you. That's why you always see me sprinting, okay? Remember, anytime you feel threatened, though, you guys can go ahead and quit the game and despawn the enemies. Grab the firebombs right there. And then what you want to do is come over here and kill this crystal lizard. Now, I'm going to let this crystal lizard get away from me on purpose because this might happen to you guys. And we need the item that this crystal lizard drops, okay? It's a raw gem, and this is part of a trophy that we need to get a little bit later on. In the event that it gets away from you, can see me hitting there because that's its spawn point. Quit the game. You don't have to save or anything. Just quit. Go through, continue the game. Go through all these prompts and loading screens. And when you spawn back in, the crystal lizard will be there again. See that? This happens with all the crystal lizards in the game. Anytime we kill a crystal lizard and it gets away from you, or I guess try to kill a crystal lizard and it gets away from you, you guys can always spawn them back in. Grab that soul that was on that corpse, and then we want to drop down this ladder here. When you get to the bottom of the ladder, go ahead and come this way and grab the black firebombs. Right here, we're going to use those a little bit later on. And then be careful when you're coming back up here because there will be an enemy that's going to try to shoot you with an arrow. Notice the quick right there. See the arrow go past me? It'll always miss you if you take a quick right, okay? Grab that soul, come through here. We're going to hit this enemy, kill him. Come up here, kill this enemy. There's going to be another enemy in the next room. Boom. Then we're going to grab this Titanite Shard over here on the corpse by the chair. Now, sometimes an enemy will be over here on the balcony. I think I walk over here. Sometimes there'll be an enemy there. I'm really not sure what causes that enemy to be there, but just make sure that you keep an eye out for that. Because if you get down here and you're not aware that that enemy spawns in, it will actually pencil you in here. It'll be fighting you in this room, like sneaking up behind you. And you have to be aware of that. So if you see like an enemy resting its hands on that balcony like it's trying to climb up, you can go ahead and kill it before it hops into the area. and you won't have to worry about it. But in my game, it just wasn't there this time. Notice what I'm doing here. Waiting for the enemy to attack, and then I'm just rolling off and running. You don't want to fight this enemy yet either, guys, especially if you're a beginner player. If you're an advanced player, you already know what to do there, and you're welcome to kill it. But if you're a beginner player, not yet, okay? Boom, kill this enemy. And notice that the other enemy from the previous room, the knight, we just lost him. Now, sometimes he will try to follow you into this area. If he does, again, guys, just quit the game, despawn the enemies, and you're completely safe. And this room's a little bit tricky if you're a beginner because you have 4 enemies down here. You have a dog and then you have 3 standing enemies. That can be a little bit tricky. There's also some enemies up top that can throw firebombs, which is why you see me standing on the steps here. You don't really want to go down. You see the enemy on the right there coming through the archway. You don't want to go in that area because there'll be an enemy above that'll toss firebombs on you. And that's not good. They can kill you really quick. So what you want to do is try to pull these enemies up the stairs one at a time. Notice that I pulled the dog first. Now I'm gonna come over here and kill the enemies. That's the enemy right there that's sitting down. That will eventually wake up and toss firebombs at you, right? So now the entire upper area is clear. We'll come over here, grab this shield. Again, we're not gonna be using this shield in the game. We're just gonna be selling it later on for free souls. And now we're going to bait these enemies to fight us up here one at a time. That's the plan. You see the enemy on, let's see, you see the enemy on the left there? That enemy will always go down the stairs. That's a good opportunity to try to pull one of these enemies that's left. I always try to pull this enemy over here first because the 2 enemies to my left, or I guess now they're in the back of the room, they're kind of on the same pattern, so they always look away from you at the same time, if that makes sense. And so it's easy for you to pull this enemy first. Now, he's giving me some complications. He's supposed to come up here and fight me on this ledge, but he's not. And so I think I have to eventually just jump down and kill him from above. You can basically walk off of a platform in this game, guys, and hit R1, and you'll just stab him as you fall down. It does a lot of damage, and I think that's what I end up doing right here. You can see me pumping my shield because sometimes if you pump your shield like that, you'll get their aggro. I was trying to do that there. I'm just trying to kill this dude without his 2 buddies coming up here with me. This is really your first dangerous spot in the run, really, in my opinion. I mean, you might have died to the boss fight earlier, maybe the Crystal Lizard, but you know, that's just one enemy at a time. This is your first encounter with like 4 enemies potentially at once if you pull them wrong, because they'll all come up there at once, guys, if you don't kind of meticulously plan your strategy here to pull them one at a time. And all I'm doing to pull them, guys, is I'm just getting close enough to them to aggro them without their friends seeing me, right? And notice here, if you get behind the enemy and you hold down R1, you will do a backstab. It does a lot of damage. You can just hit them when they wake back up. And I think this is the last guy. There is one more enemy in this room that you can't see. It's actually down the stairs. It's another dog. I usually don't count that in terms of my strategy because the dog rarely comes up here unless you get close to the stairs. So when I come into this room, I mainly just focus on the 4 enemies downstairs. Notice the backstab again there. Again, I'm just going around the enemy just like we did with the Crystal Lizard, just like we did with the boss, waiting for them to attack. Boom, get behind them, backstab them, or you can just hit them with regular R1s. Here's a dog I was telling you about. Notice I'm just blocking. As soon as the dog hits my shield and bounces off, I get my swing on. See that? Boom, real simple. Want to make sure that we grab this cell key. That's going to come in handy later. We have to free an NPC from prison, and that's the key to do it with. Come over here. We want to make sure we grab this item. This is the Estus Shard. Now we have to collect so many Estus Shards in the game. I don't want to confuse you guys. Make sure to grab this Titanite Shard as well. The Estus Flask that we've already picked up. Remember, we got 3 Estus Flask at the beginning of the game, and then we got the Ashen Estus Flask. I count those, guys. Basically, we have to level up our Estus Flask to 15. And you can do that with Estus Shards and then, of course, the Estus Flask themselves. So now that we have the Estus Flask and the Ashen Estus Flask, we already have 4. So that would have been the 5th. I just count that the Estus Shard as the 5th one. And now we only have to collect 10 more and we'll be able to have our 15, if that makes sense. I just decided to count them that way because it was a little bit easier when I was making the guide. Make sure you grab the 2 embers by the fountain, then come over here and grab this soul. Notice what I do here. I wait because sometimes the enemy from the fountain, which is a very deadly enemy for this stage in the game, especially if you're a beginner, sometimes that enemy will chase you through the archway here and want to fight you out here. If that happens, guys, go ahead and quit the game, despawn that enemy, and then load back in and of course take these enemies out. Now the reason why I'm killing these enemies versus running past them is because we have to come up here and make a jump, and I don't want these enemies chasing you guys. And we're gonna come up here, take a right. Now we've made a lot of progress in the game so far, so grab this soul and then go ahead and set up another save right here just in case you guys missed this jump and things get crazy, because if you fall, if you miss this jump, then you still got the enemy down there that can fight you around the fountain. And like I said, he's really deadly, so go ahead and set up a save just in case. And now depending on how you set up your jump controls, I'm showing you that here again, you can make it either L3 or O, whichever one you feel comfortable with. You just want to make this jump. Now we don't really need this ring at this point, even though this is a ring we'll eventually collect for the trophy, because we do have to collect 107 rings to pop a trophy. Some people online say 106. Some people say that the ring of sacrifice doesn't count, but I included it in my guide. But there's several rings in the game, rings of sacrifice. This particular ring that we just picked up is not what I'm counting as part of our trophies. I'm actually counting that one. I'm actually picking that one up just so we can sell it later for some souls. Grab those green blossoms. Then we're going to come over here and hit up the elevator. The ring of sacrifice actually sells for 2,000 souls. So because we're at the beginning of the game, 2,000 souls is a lot, okay? So I want you guys to again pick that up. Take the elevator up to the top. Notice that I'm just healing just for safety because I know when I open up this door, there's going to be one enemy. Notice that I took it immediate right because I want to fight this enemy alone. There is an enemy behind me that's sleeping or leaning up against the wall, and it looks like it's dead, but it's not. It's a trap. If you go to the left when you come out of that elevator room, see how he spawns in? Then it's going to be like a 2v1 situation, right? Grab that soul. Now notice what I just sprint all the way through here, guys. There's going to be some dogs in this area, people shooting at you. I'm just sprinting past everybody. Keep your shield up the whole time by hitting L1 if you need to. And notice what I'm doing here, going up the stairs, turning around, and I'm waiting. I want to see if the dogs chase me. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You guys can always quit the game if you want them to despawn, but you're not going to be able to use this bonfire. Notice I can't use the bonfire because there's an enemy too close to the bonfire, and it's this enemy right here. So anytime you can't use a bonfire, guys, it's just because there's an enemy close to you. So again, you can either save and quit or come over here and kill them like I am. And now when I go back to the bonfire, it should work. Perfect. Right? So you guys can go and get all your health back and everything. And now we're going to run back the same way that we came. What we've done, guys, is we've opened up a shortcut back to this area. You guys remember when we first started this episode, we came up from the bonfire, we had to take a left and go all the way around this area to get to this spot. Well, now when we want to get to the boss, all we have to do is just, instead of going to the left from the bonfire, we take a right, hit the elevator, we come this way, and the boss is actually going to be on our right. There's actually two bosses in this area, but we'll fight the other one a little bit later on in the run. Notice here I'm just running past all these enemies, no need to fight anybody. And then we have some very dangerous knights up here. I would encourage you guys, if you're a beginner, to hit these steps over here, because if you take this path, you only have to you only have one enemy that you have to kind of juke. It's that enemy right there. If you take the middle path, there's actually two enemies. You may take more damage there than you need to take. We're going to come into this room. We're going to speak to this NPC, and we're going to pick up a trophy. Just, you know, you can just kind of spam through her dialogue. I think I let a little bit of her dialogue play just so you guys can see the dialogue, but you can really just spam through it super fast if you're not concerned with the dialogue. We're going to get an item, and then we're also going to get a trophy. There's the item, the small Lothric banner. Then we get another item here as well. It's the Covenant item. Get through all this dialogue. Boom, Way of Blue. And then there's your trophy, Covenant Way of Blue. Okay, so that's perfect. Now that we have the small Lothric banner, once we defeat the boss, we're going to be able to go to the next area of the game, because you have to have that banner to get to the next area. Notice what I'm doing here, just backtracking the same way that we came into this area via the steps over here, so I only have to worry about one enemy. Just block again. They might hit you a few times, guys. That's fine. Keep going. Then we're gonna come over here, take a left, go all the way down the stairs. Just run past all these enemies, and then when you guys make it to this room, go ahead and set up a save. When we get into episode 4, we're gonna take this boss on and then move on to the next area. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you right back here in the next one. You guys be good.